So then lads, back with another video. You read the title, you saw the thumbnail, so there's no real way I can drag this on for any long at all. So yeah, we're just going to get into this. This is every defender gadget in Siege, ranked from worst to best. So number 6 spot on our list, which should be the last if I've remembered all of them right, it's got to go to the impact grenade. There are many mythical creatures that people have been searching for, like Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, El Chupacabra. The mythical thing that I want to find is a time that I'll need to use the impact grenade. Yeah, this works as a gadget, but it would clearly make a better attacker gadget. Like, it should have been swapped with the Claymore, and I don't see why they put it that way round. But yeah, I guess its intended purpose was to break down walls if there's someone on the other side, but the nitro cell can easily be used for that. It's not a really useful thing to do anyway, and if you like misclick or just move the mouse slightly too far to one side, you're fucked. There's no getting out the way like you would do if it was a normal frag grenade or a flashbang. If you miss aim, it's just instantaneous death. Then the impact itself, really isn't as big as you'd expect given all the other flaws it has. It doesn't really have as big of an explosion as some of the other explosive devices. So it definitely lands the last place spot on our list because I really can't find a way it will be used for. So at number 5 on the list we have the Nitro Cell. It was kind of hard choosing between this and Impact Grenade for last place because they're pretty useless, both of them. But I guess I chose Nitro Cell to be a bit higher because at least you get to control when the explosion happens, make it more defendery. Yeah, as I said with the Impact Grenade, its main purpose is supposed to be breaking down walls, which isn't that much of a useful process. Unlike the Impact Grenade, though, you can leave it there and detonate it when you want to, and also it will make a good trap, I guess. It's like if you plant it somewhere and then you see an attacker going in that place, basically you can detonate. But then again, if you do that, then they're in your line of sight, so you might as well just shoot them. It's useful for throwing near corners and blowing up someone around that corner. But I've honestly never had it useful in that scenario. I've noticed that sometimes it starts to beat faster. I don't know what that means. It could be random. My guess, this is a bit far-fetched, but it could be doing that when an enemy's closer nearby. If that's the case, then it is much more useful than I thought, and would probably deserve a higher place on the list. But other than that, it's not really that useful. It's better than the Impact Grenade, but still pretty bad. Coming out at number 4 on our list is going to have to be the Barbed Wire. This one's good. Not like the Impact Grenade and Nitro Cell, it's just not as good as the rest. It's useful mainly for stopping drones. You can shoot them more easily. When I first played the game, I originally thought it would deal damage to attackers. That would be useful, but it doesn't do that. It's mainly useful for when you're playing on Bandit because you can electrify the wire and that will stop drones. Yeah, like I said before, its main purpose is for stopping drones because it slows down in them. The usual strategy is to deploy it, just stand there, wait for a drone to go in, and then shoot it. I guess it makes some noise when a player goes over it, so that sound is pretty useful. It's one of those things that's mainly useful in the preparation phase. And I guess it can be useful when people use drones in the attack phase, and that lands it as a pretty useful gadget. It's somewhat dependent on what operator you pick. So yeah, that was Barbed Wire. Now we're moving on to the top half. I'd say number 3 spot will probably go to the Bulletproof Shield. Now that one is kind of a mixed bag. Sometimes it ends up being really helpful, but it can also be your own downfall. The best way to make it useful is to not entirely rely on it, as in just camping behind it the entire round. That will definitely get you killed. It's a good strategy to put it in doorways. I guess you can have an easy peek over, and it's much more durable than a barricade. It's very useful to put closer to the objectives if you want to camp there, I guess, to have a good peeking spot. I'm pretty sure it's barely available on any operators, though. That is the one downside. Well, out of all the base game operators, because that's the only one I have. I still haven't bought any that cost over 1,000. It is pretty rare to find them in that roster. It can be deployed once. When it's knocked down, obviously you can't get it back, which is kind of a downside. You can pick it back up. You can place it in doorways and windows, which is good. Yeah, it's very good for temporarily peeking behind in the objective room or in a doorway. So that's why it lands number 3 spot on our list. So the second best defender gadget in Siege is probably gonna have to be the bulletproof camera. Yeah, it took me a while to get used to this one because I was all like, what are the chances that the attackers will go in this exact spot? Turns out that I'm fucking stupid and it's easy to tell where the attackers could go from. One obvious advantage of this is the fact that it's bulletproof. Really, attackers can just shoot a regular camera, but this one is durable against bullets, but it's still vulnerable to melee attacks and explosives, which isn't much of a downside. Though, it's mainly useful though after you're dead, because usually when I die, it's right at the start of the round, so I just use it later in the round when the enemies are swarming the objective room, and it's useful to spot and get assists with. Pretty recently, I don't know how recently, I can't remember when it was like that, but the feature was added that it has a taser to take out drones. To be honest, this feature's been pretty fucking useless since the taser is hard to aim with, has a slow recharge, and you're relying on the chance that someone's going to drive a drone right past your camera. One advantage of it is also the fact that it does night vision, so like enemies are kind of highlighted. Given the fact that there are no maps set in the dark, even though that would be a fucking good idea, just imagine like literally a siege map set in the dark. We have to like use flashlights or night vision. I'm going off track. Anyway, yeah, it can be used to spot enemies more easily and mainly useful after you die. Just imagine it though, like Hackney Yard Night from Modern Warfare, but it's in Siege fuck tangent again. So we bring ourselves to the number 1 spot on this list, which you will probably have guessed by now if you actually play this game and saw this video for the good information and not just to take the piss out of me, and that is the proximity alarm. So, it's an alarm that detects things in the proximity. I guess that's easy to tell because of the name, isn't it? So basically, you get 2 of them, you deploy them in places, and when enemies go past them, it makes a sound. They're really more of like a one-hit use thing, because, the moment you hear them, you're like, oh shit, proximity alarm. You can tell the sound's coming from and just pop it. So, yeah, it's useful for spotting enemies when they first come in. Some enemies, though, are stupid enough to not notice it, so you just get constant alert when they go in. The trick is, in like secure area and hostage, when you only have one objective, you triggers to put one on each side of the objective room, so they just go past each one. And with bomb, it gets kind of more complicated, I guess. Like, it's definitely not something you place in the objective room because, if the enemy's in the objective room, it's a bit late for the whole alarm alerts there. The only issue is, like, you have to rely on your ears, so, like, when it goes off, you don't get an indicator on which one detected it, so sorry, deaf people. So yeah, that was the number 1 spot on our list, proximity alarm. So yeah, that was every defender gadget in Siege ranked. This video is going to be much shorter than normal ones, because I decided to make shorter videos because editing long videos isn't really fun. And I'm just going to go into the tangent no one cares about. I only really do this for fun, so I decided that when I had videos that were like an hour of footage condensed into like half an hour of gameplay, I realized that was so fucking boring, and editing it became more of a hassle than a fun thing to do. So all my videos from now on are just going to be like shorter than 10 minutes, hopefully. I'm not really in this for the money, I'm in this for the fun. Although, if I did get money from this, that would be pretty fucking nice. So then, lads, that's the end.